Alright guys, welcome to Wrestling Reviews from Across the Pond, or RAP for short. This is our first of many question and answer shows where we answer your questions that you send in to us.
This is the first question, by Chris the Tank Russell from the Wrestling Crew. And it is directly to Giles, I assume, because he lives in England, same as me, whilst Giles lives in Ireland. So he asks, what is the fan base like across the pond?
Well, Chris, the fan base for wrestling over in Northern Ireland is minimal, to be honest. There are little fans over here. Hardly any people I know actually like wrestling and watch it every week like I do. The only guy that I know of in my school that likes it, it isn't someone in my class. I talk to him about it regularly. But yeah. Also, whenever WWE comes to Belfast in the Odyssey Arena, it seems to draw big crowds. So I don't know. Maybe they've come from other parts of Northern Ireland to Belfast specifically, but I'm not too sure. But from what I know in my town, it's not very big. This question comes from CJ Thompson, and Lee Whitaker kind of asked the same question. Who is your favourite 5, present and past? We're gonna mix it up together. We're gonna do 2 favourite current superstars and 3 favourite of all time superstars. So, Matthew.
I'm going to consider him as of all time, and it is Chris Jericho, even though he's currently wrestling. He's my favourite wrestler of all time. I look up to him, and if I ever decide to become a wrestler, he is probably the guy. Is the reason why. I've read his autobiography, and he's overcame a lot, and it is amazing of what he's done to get where he is. I've watched wrestling since I was 5, and I've always been a Jericho guy. I wasn't a Austin, not a Rock. I was a Jericho fan. I was a Jericho-holic, and still am. And I found him someone that I wanted to be at the time, as he was a funny but yet arrogant wrestler that could get his way out of anything and anyone. His debut was amazing. He interrupted The Rock, which was a huge deal at the time because he was at his peak in '99. And what struck me most about him was he wasn't the biggest. He was pretty small. He wasn't one of them guys that was huge, but he was the most entertaining small guy there was. You had your Benoits and Melenkos and Guerreros, but you got an even Angle, but he was more entertaining than them, in my opinion. And he's had amazing moments like WrestleMania 19, his 25-minute 4-star to 5-star match with Shawn Michaels, and at the end where he kicked him in the groin. It was a truly heelish moment. And then he obviously left with Fozzy in '05 to take a break from wrestling. He came back, but he needed to evolve, and in '08 he turned heel, and instead of becoming the Rock, the rocking wrestler, the Ayatollah of rock and roller, he simply became Jericho, Chris Jericho, best in the world at what he does. And he even wore trunks, not even long trousers. He wore trunks, and he had some amazing feuds with Michaels and Mysterio, and even a nice little one with Orton. He just came back after that punt to the head, and he's put over people, younger talent such as Punk. Yeah, I think that was a 5-star match at Extreme Rules, and he is someone that can get the best out of anyone. He can carry a match, and that is what makes him my favourite wrestler ever. And the next one is CM Punk. He is the best in the world, I believe. Ever since '04 in his Ring of Honor days, he's been up there with the best wrestlers in the past 10 years. Now, when he joined WWE, he came in as a straight-edge wrestling machine. And I love that because his gimmick was basically his wrestling, and he backed it up. He wasn't one of them guys that couldn't wrestle. And when he won Money in the Bank for the first time at WrestleMania 24, yes, that was it, 24, he cashed in on Edge in June. And he was a main event player, but WWE dropped the ball on him because they didn't think he could carry the flag. So they put him in, made Carl Feuds, put him in a tag team. He sent him over to SmackDown. He won Money in the Bank again, turned heel, cashed it in on Jeff Hardy, and he was one of the most entertaining people on television, let alone WWE television in general, in the straight edge society. Best stable in the PG era. and he shone with it. You know, he sang Happy Birthday to girls and like Rey Mysterio's daughter in a sadistic and frightening way, and it freaked him out, and it was truly something amazing. Now he's the voice of the voiceless, obviously. Got shot on by WWE for 8 months, came out the shell, made #1 contender for the title, got told to say what he wants as long as it's, you know, in the region of normal. But he didn't. He said what he wants. He said the company would be better off if Vince McMahon was dead. It might be, you never know. And he became the thing that summer. He became, you know, up there with Stone Cold. And I was not only happy for him because he was one of my favourite wrestlers, I was also proud of him. Now, Bret Hart is one of them as well. Bret Hart is so technically sound. He is the best there was, the best there is, and, you know, except for whatever that quote is, I forgot. His personal issues obviously really outshone his wrestling career. You know, with his death with his brother Owen and the Montreal Screwjob and his relationship with Vince. But I've read his book and he's had some amazing moments in his wrestling career. You know, from Puerto Rico to WrestleMania 13 with Austin. He's had 5-star matches, including his brother Owen at WrestleMania 10. But he left on bad terms with the Screwjob, but he's in a good place now, and I applaud him for overcoming the things he has overcome. I'm going to get onto this quickly, don't worry. Edge is another guy that I looked at because of his tag team plaudits with Christian, but, you know, he's put his body on the line for 10 years, 15 actually, in his actual career. But TLC matches have took the life out of him, and you can obviously tell because he had to retire a year early than he wanted to. He's carried the World Championship 11 times, which is amazing for a guy that seemingly never looked like he had any luck with his injuries, such as he had a broken neck, he had a Achilles injury a couple of times. And I actually applaud him for nailing Lita behind Matt Hardy's back, because I hate that man. So win-win. And finally, the next superstar I absolutely adore is Daniel Bryan, aka hashtag Bryan Danielson. I never really liked him until he debuted in WWE NXT next in 2010. But I had to watch his indie work to see what he was about. I knew of him, but I didn't know what he was like, and he blew my mind. And I never really appreciated what he did until he came back from that release, and he had a good feud with Miz. He turned heel and he got his creative side out there by saying yes chance, by being basically awesome. And I think he can out wrestle anyone in the world on his day. I don't think he's the best. I think he's the second best. But he's a good athlete, and he's also a vegan, which I respect, because I cannot go a day without having meeting me. Yes, that was a gay joke. No, I am not gay. But they're my 5 favourite wrestlers. Giles.
Okay. My current 2 favourite at the moment are John Cena and Ryback. Going John Cena first. John Cena draws a crowd. He keeps them on their feet. Let's go Cena, Cena sucks chants. That just proves how influential he is to the fans. He's great in the mic, and people only say he's only got 5 moves are wrong. It isn't his choice. He's got 5 moves that leads up to his win. It's his gimmick. If he was heel, he'd have a different moveset. That's a completely different story altogether. And Ryback's a beast. People say he's the next Goldberg, but so what if he is? We need a monster face like that again, and he's one for the future. My past 3 favourite are Goldberg, Chris Benoit, and Stone Cold Steve Austin. Goldberg and Chris Benoit were instrumental in WCW and WWE. Benoit, 6 years, was in WCW altogether. He achieved everything imaginable. 2-time WCW US champ, heavyweight champion, 2-time WCW tag team champion, and 3-time WCW TV champion. The Wrestling Observer named him best technical wrestler 5 times on separate years. He's the best technical wrestler of all time, in my opinion. Bill Goldberg was amazing. The Who's Next catchphrase and his sheer strength was just thrilling and unbelievable. His jackhammer slam against Mark Henry was just, I couldn't believe that. I was marking out. He's more well known for his time in WCW, but he was a class act in WWE as well. And Stone Cold Steve Austin. the main man in the Attitude Era, great in the mic, favourite with the fans, whether he was face or heel, often 316. That's stuck with the fans until this very day. Shows you how much he influenced them. And let's hope for him for a Raw 1000 and against CM Punk at WrestleMania 29.
Very good indeed.
Yeah, Matthew.
The next question is from William Fox, and he asks, "What do you think of Jack Swagger?" Giles, if you want to.
Well, in my opinion, he's the kind of guy you like or you hate. I think he's good in the ring, but at times he seems a bit static and robotic, if you know what I mean. He's got a good moveset, and he has a WWE Olympic wrestler type. I have a fetish for it. It's weird. He needs a good angle and storyline, to be honest. It shows how low he is at the minute whenever he was jobbing against Ryback on Raw. But if he gets a good angle and storyline, he'll do the world of good.
Well, personally, I think he got the ball far too early. When he became world heavyweight champion,
Yeah.
especially after cashing it in after 3 days, after WrestleMania 26 at the TV taping of SmackDown. His gimmick isn't really entertaining. I think he's quite dull. He's quite. We've seen it all before with Arrogant Jock, where he'll get do push-ups and all that. And I didn't really find it interesting when he debuted in 08, to be honest. He can wrestle, but he needs serious revampment if he wants to last in the WWE. Not necessarily turn him face, but change his actual gimmick, get away from the singlet, and just revamp him. Have him be like a family man that is sadistic and protected by attacking superstars at the aid of AEW, like a hitman. I've just thought of a gimmick there in 10 seconds. So it's basically that easy, but I don't think WWE have necessarily got anything for him. It's quite sad because he can wrestle and he seems like a good guy. He's just, his gimmick has went to the point of getting far too boring, and I'd change the channel or fast forward it when he's on. So that's my opinion.
Okay. These next 4 questions are from Mike Pulman. We'll talk about him later on in the show, but we'll go into the questions first. His first question is: there's been a lot of written and speculated rumors about Kurt Angle's claims of Triple H, aka Paul Levesque, being a bit of a bully backstage a few years ago. Knowing Triple H like we do you think these rumors are true, Matthew?
Not at all. I think he's politically deluded in the sense where he uses his power to his advantage as a wrestling character. But as a bully backstage, I can't see it happening because, to be honest, I know this sounds a bit, whipped, but I don't think his wife would let him be a bully. Because knowing Stephanie, she seems down to earth and she has a lot of respect for everyone backstage, from T-Guy to the champion, to the seamstress, to the dressmakers, whatever. She has a lot of respect. So if Triple H was a bully, I think he would get a verbal lashing off his wife. And also, I think he's changed from the later 90s and early 2000s, when he was a bit of an arse. Apparently, he was a bit of a dick. And besides which, Angle isn't really reliable. Look at his Twitter account. He spouts a lot of BS, so I can't personally take him seriously. I don't think anyone else can.
Yeah. Well, I think he might come across as a bully. I think his love and enthusiasm and passion for the business might make him do things that seem like he's bullying people, but he's really wanting them to achieve their potential and do what's right for the company. And as you said, Kurt Angle is unreliable, so you wouldn't know him. So yeah.